You're watching Analysts After Dark, an underground hideaway where insatiably curious analysts examine provocative project problems, share salacious secrets, and establish a covert network of co-conspirators. Step into the dark with your hosts, AJ Hawley and Steve Jones.
Hey, Steve.
How you doing, AJ?
Good. How are you?
I am doing great.
I'm excited for another fun episode.
Same here. And
It's
you've also got some other exciting stuff coming up, don't you? Next week?
Yeah, so next week, gearing up for Vancouver. So that's going to be exciting. I've got several sessions in that. So I'll be doing my hack job session and talking about different Microsoft tools and tricks that we can use that we probably don't use, or if we do use them, we can maximize them. And I'll be talking about doing a workshop and a keynote as well.
Keynote?
Yeah.
Oh, say more.
Yeah, so it's titled What If I Don't? And it is challenging ideas that we fall victim to in the workplace, I feel. So we end up doing a lot of the things that aren't necessarily valuable. And there's a lot of things that are happening all day long that keep us from really thinking about what we're doing. So I get to talk a little bit about that and challenge folks to ask that question. Well, what if I don't do that?
That's fantastic.
It'll be a lot of fun. I tried to sprinkle in some fun little Easter eggs for people, and it's not just talking about work stuff. It gets a little weird. I'm not going to lie.
Getting a little weird can be more fun.
I feel like it's the most fun. If we can share a little bit of our weirdness with everybody else and just be open and honest about, hey, I'm kind of an odd duck, then it makes life a little bit more interesting.
So not being stuck up, or stuffed up. Just
correct. If you can avoid both of those things. No, I feel like there's a lot of people that they stay in their lane and they stay in their zone, and that's fine, and they choose to share things and don't choose to share other things. I'm fine with that. I think for me, there's a large part of my life where I didn't do that, I did do that, and then now I'm choosing not to. And I think that it's been more authentic, and I've been able to have more relationships that are deeper and more meaningful, I think. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And you feel better about it because it's authentic.
Yeah, you walk away going, I was able to show up as myself, and, warts and all.
Warts are character building.
I think so too. Well, speaking of characters, we have one on our show this evening. We have Miss Rachael Wilterdink. And I wanted to do, I forgot about this, the Humperdink thing, from Princess Bride. And I was going to do a little YouTube video of that and then put her name in there, but I got busy with some other things. It's just a bummer. Well,
she's heard it before, though, I'm sure.
Maybe next time. So, all right. Well, without further ado, so with over 25 years of IT experience, Ms. Wilterdink holds multiple business analysis and Agile certifications. As a consultant, Rachael has served clients in the financial, retail, manufacturing, healthcare, nonprofit, government, education, and insurance industries. She's a very active member of the professional community and serves on the boards of both her local IBA and PMI chapters, and chaired the advisory committees for 2 local colleges. As a passionate public speaker, Rachael presents various topics at conferences and user groups across the country and the world. Rachael is also a blogger and the author of the popular ebook, 40 Agile Transformation Pain Points, and how to avoid or manage them. Excuse me. So let's bring on Miss Rachael.
Hi guys, thank you for having me tonight. It's such a pleasure to be here, and oh my gosh, you just cracked me up so hard with the Princess Bride, Humperdinck. And so my maiden name is Roberts, which is like so easy and not really that memorable, but Wilterdink is. So I always give this spiel whenever I'm talking. It's either a link, a dink, a sink, or a tink, and they're Dutch, and they're from Oostburg or Hingham, Wisconsin, but it's spelled Hingham, so that's how we say it. All right. I stole this shtick from my husband because this is not my maiden name, and he does it so much better than I do. I'm still trying to perfect it so I can get some laughs, but oh my gosh, with the Humperdinck, like you just told me a new way to approach this because literally when I got married to my husband, hi Aaron, I wanted to have the guy officiating the wedding do the Princess Bride vows. So whoa is what brings us together today. Whoa, that blessed arrangement, that dream within a dream. And like we tried to get him to do it, and he's like, ooh, I can't. And we're like, dang it, like it would be so hilarious. No, he wouldn't do it.
It would have been great.
It would have been funny.
It would have been epic because as I mentioned earlier, I grew up as a Mormon in Utah. And so Utahns are very clean and pure. And in high school, you don't really do anything naughty, right? And you go on group dates, and guess what your ultimate group date, dream date is? It's to go to your friends with 20 other people and watch The Princess Bride.
Okay.
I kid you not. Like, that is the Mormon dream date right there. So you brought it, AJ. Thank you.
I didn't know that context going into it.
I know. Who knew, right?
Who knew, right?
Yeah.
I also didn't know that they were called Utahns. I feel like it should have been like Utonians or something like that.
Or
Utahns.
No, Utahns. We are Utahns. I'm a Utahn.
That's fair.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here tonight.
Well, we're glad to have you. This is going to be a fun show, and we're super excited.
Thank you.
We start off our shows sometimes, generally, when we can think about it and we remember, asking one question. And the question is, what is your favorite after dark activity?
Okay, this is
let you answer, or I can read what you suggested. Either way.
So I love to read, but aside from that boring pastime, I am a sucker for forensic files.
Okay.
So if I wish I had many lives because I would love to have many different careers, anthropology being one of them, especially like forensic anthropology. That would be totally awesome. So I love watching forensic files. My husband hates it because he used to be a cop. He's like, this is too close to home. But I'm like, oh, let's solve the mystery. Let's find the killer. Like, yeah. So I know it's really sad and sick, but yeah, I love, and even it's an old show. It's not even like new, but yeah, forensic files. I love solving mysteries.
Was that the guy from 60 Minutes that does that show? Is that who does that?
Ooh, I don't even know. They have like a famous guy who does the narration.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good, but it's like really old now. I feel like it's like ancient. Maybe I'm just that old, but I still love it.
Well, we're gonna find out.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So do you try to bring your analysis to forensic files?
Oh, I'm sure I do. I love breaking things down. I love solving problems. Like, ooh, what's the root cause? Why did they do this? Like, let's try to dissect this. Like, who's the killer? It's totally, yeah. I literally wish I had multiple lives so I could live multiple careers and like anthropology. Sometimes I wish I could have been an orthodontist. I spent a good fortune on my mouth, like making straight teeth, and I have multiple implants because I have genetically missing teeth. So I have like the price of a luxury car invested in my mouth. So I would love to be an orthodontist. Like I would love to be an author. Like there's so many things. I wish I could live, 4 or 5 different lives.
Well, I think the last thing I would want to be is an orthodontist because I'm a slight, and I say slight, but moderate germaphobe. And then just me sticking my hands in someone's mouth all day, just out. I'm out.
All day.
And that's probably why a lot of people would rather do pediatric, dentistry because they're new and they're young and they aren't gross and decayed and you got to dig in there and get all the cavities out. Like I wouldn't want to do that, but like straightening out and making a beautiful smile, like that would be enjoyable to me somehow. I know it's weird, right?
You know what? I'm happy for people like you. That's awesome. I'm happy.
We appreciate you. Yes.
You exist, and I don't want to learn about dead folks and look at that. Like that's not my jam either.
No, and I could never be a nurse. So if there's anything I would never be, it's any kind of a caregiver because I would have a horrible bedside manner. I'd be like, really, you hurt that bad? Like, suck it up. Like I would not be a good nurse. I would suck at it. I would honestly kill people, which would be horrible.
You said you would never be a caregiver, but you have 3 kids.
I do.
Yeah.
But family history is coming out with being, how many siblings do you have?
I am the oldest of 5. So there's 4 girls, 1 boy. We grew up Mormons, right? So very clean, healthy living. And I just like, as soon as I turned 18, I'm like, I'm out. Like I'm done being second mom. I knew many, interestingly, polygamous wives and children of polygamists. So I knew you were never going to go there in this session, but like I knew people who grew up in that and it was really interesting. So I'm a really sort of sick addict of Sister Wives, the TV show.
Okay.
Just because I grew up in that environment where it was a thing and literally people I went to school with and husbands like skulking around in the background. There were like children of polygamous families, but they kept it secret. Oh, here he is. He's got to say hi.
Oh, hello.
So hi. So for the record, her husband is not against polygamy.
Okay.
To me. What else were you talking about before I came out? Oh, horrible bedside manner. Yes.
Okay.
Not good nurse material. What else did I hear?
Your Wilterdink thing.
Did you tell them about Wilterdink?
I did. I stopped at I didn't tell them about the vans. The van part.
Do you guys want me to take it from the top, or have we already gone?
No. I already did the Wilterdink link sync dink dink. I didn't go with the vans though.
So we're also related to the Van Dykes and the Van Wykes. See, and if you Van Dykes and Van Wykes in Wisconsin, they probably come from Oostburg or they probably come from Hingham. Now you have the Van Dykes and the Van Wykes, but then like we need to talk about the Van Helsings. They're German. They hunt vampires. No relation. Those people are crazy.
Sorry.
Anything else?
Nice.
No. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye before anniversary.
He was supposed to be in bed already.
Yes, I heard her tell you about my background.
Yeah.
But so it's not that opposites attract. We are the opposite side of the exact same coin. So we both have the same attention to detail, OCD in certain circumstances, but like she hates confrontation. Like she cannot, she's just like, nope, I'm confrontational. We either have to be collaborative or bye-bye, right? And me, I'm like, oh, you want to have a confrontation? You want to fight? Oh, I can do fight. I can do, you want to play messy? And I'm cleaning up the language. You can imagine, right? You want to play messy? I can play messy. So that's that.
Yeah. You can tell he deals with inmates.
I have always shined at dealing with difficult people. That I don't know why.
And then now she just gets half your stuff.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay,
bye-bye. You're not the guest.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Anyway, sorry for the guest appearance of my crazy husband. Awesome husband.
It's not the first cameo that we've had on this show. That was
true.
So Amy had Teddy. when she was on her dog.
Oh,
And then I think 2 weeks ago, Coop had his significant other come on. So like, it's kind of a free for all, and we enjoy a good cameo. So,
Yes, we do.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We
he's
used to-
always like, yeah, and then there's the Van Wykes, the Van Dykes, the Van whatevers, and the Van Helsings, and they're German and no relation. Like they're the vampire hunters. So yeah, no, I'm like a quarter Italian by heritage, so I have nothing to do with these Dutch people other than being married to one. But yeah, no, I love being a business analyst. Like that is my passion in life. And yeah, he's right though. Like conflict is my biggest weakness.
Well, so
Negative
talk a little bit about your experience, because I know you said you had 25 years experience in IT specifically, and you have a very strong passion for being a business analyst. So tell me a little bit about what you do and what your favorite problems to solve are.
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. Yeah, so I started my IT career a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And I was more of a front end like web developer person when I got started in the profession. I actually came from construction, believe it or not. I was an industrial construction estimator before I got into IT. So I was doing multi-million-dollar bids for substations and transmission electrical distribution systems and stuff like that. And like as soon as I found the internet, I like fell in love. I'm like, I gotta do something with that. So I kind of self-taught. I got a bunch of books. I built my own like humongous personal website featuring things that I'm hugely embarrassed to talk about now, like the music I liked and the shows I watched and my crazy weird hobbies. I really
Was it a MySpace page?
Oh, no, this is even before that.
Oh,
This
okay.
is before that. So we're talking like internet browser of choice was Mosaic.
Okay.
We're talking before Internet Explorer or Netscape or anything. And so I like literally taught myself. So I built this huge website. I moved to California. I got a job at this little itty bitty startup company that happened to be right in my backyard, and it was called Netflix. And so this is where I really got my like IT start. And so I was a customer before I started working there, but my interview for Netflix was I got to hand code HTML on a whiteboard. And the people interviewing me didn't even know about the company as much as I did because I was already a customer. And I actually had a typo on my resume and I was mortified. And the guy caught it and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm doomed. Like I'm not going to get this job. No. I totally got the job. Love Netflix. I was a movie addict. I'm still a movie addict. Total movie addict. So like I was a customer before. I'm still a customer now. I'm still like a huge Netflix advocate, cheerleader. And yeah, so that's kind of where I got my start. And then fast forward, I have my kids. I'm like, I can't keep up. Like being a technologist, I love being a technologist. But like when you got kids, it's just really hard to keep up. So I had the opportunity through a merger and acquisition to become a BA. And it was right at the beginning of the BA profession being really recognized as a thing. And I think, 2003, I think is the 20th anniversary of the IIBA, right?
Mm.
And so I became a BA in about 2005. And so it was really still brand new. And I had this amazing mentor. He was a project manager. He was one of the original reviewers of the very first version of the Babak, which is nuts, like just crazy. But he really, like having a mentor and transitioning from being more of a doer to a BA, I was like, oh my God, I've already been a BA. my whole entire IT career, I've already been a BA. So I was eliciting requirements. I was documenting the requirements. I was building the solution, validating the solution, and like I was doing the whole entire software development lifecycle. I didn't even know that I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So to have a profession come along and like say, hey, this is a real thing. There's value in this. And like, oh my God, it was like this amazing light bulb coming on in my brain. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I love this. And it was such a perfect fit for me because I mean, business analysis is a lot more stable, I guess I would say, than technology, where the languages and they're changing like just at the speed of light. But I think business analysis, while it has evolved, it's evolved a little bit slower. It's a lot more stable. And I think, realizing that the things I'd been doing were official techniques, like, oh, interviewing, that's an official technique. Observation, that's an official technique. Like all the things I was already doing was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And so, yeah, so I've been all in with the IIBA since then, and, going through the CBAP process, which I know, Steve, you've gone through this, right? Like it's rigorous. It's not easy. It's actually super challenging. AJ, have you done the CBAP? Have you gone through that or no?
No. And I've got a whole list of reasons why, but
that's totally understand. Like it is hard. It is not easy. It is like really, really rigorous, and you have to study your butt off, and you have to really commit. And so anytime I see anybody who's made any sort of commitment to the business analysis profession, I'm like, you go, like, that's amazing. And so I feel like it gave us this common language, common community. And I just feel like I've found this just amazing family being a part of the IIBA over the years. And, I was on the board of my local chapter, and I just guest spoke for the Bluegrass chapter. Are you guys familiar with those guys? Man,
I know Aaron.
They are rock stars. Holy moly. Like they showed the list of like the CBAP holders in their chapter. I swear to God, there's like 50 people. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like it's not an easy thing to achieve at all. And the fact that they have that many and that they support the profession so much was just like mind blowing to me. And I can't even remember your original question. Like I totally got off track. And I think my light just like went out. It like the battery went out. So sorry, I'm dark now, but.
And that's just what's in the chapter. So the study groups that Aaron and the rest of the Bluegrass chapter run is amazing because they're supporting people all over. And Aaron says 84.
Yes. And I mean, it's like, I'm like, Kentucky? Like, really? Kentucky? And then I'm like, oh my gosh, look at the org. And then you have to realize, so then I like looked at their list. I realized the Larsons, you guys know who they are? They were the ones who had Watermark Learning. Like they were the creators, the originators of that company. So I took their boot camp for both the CBAP, and I also did the competing PMI PBA, which don't recommend. Don't do it. But like, I mean, just such a great organization, such great support. And I mean, even though I'm in Wisconsin, like all these people that I know, so many connections have actually gone through the Bluegrass chapter to do their study groups. And I didn't have the benefit of having a study group. I did it on my own, and I spent like a year like studying. And this was my very first professional certification. So it was like a big deal for me, and my family supported me. My kids were younger at the time, so I kind of like sacrificed time with my kids and my spouse, but everybody supported me. And like I'd spend my whole weekend studying, and I probably overdid it because I tend to do that, but man, it was such like the feeling of accomplishment when you like earn it, right, Steve? It's like, oh my God, like, yes. Like you just want to like go have a party, right?
And I did.
And I mean, it was not so I'd be just curious, Steve, about your experience, because I mean, you went through it as well. It's not easy.
No. And I went back through it when it was paper and pencil for the application.
Oh, wow.
The application took me 3.5 months to assemble. because you had to write in everything.
Oh, and so I had thought about doing it earlier before it was like digitalized, and I probably had the experience. I just didn't have the confidence necessarily. And so I waited until it was all, online and everything before I did it. I mean, I'm sure I could have sat the exam way earlier. So I waited, but it's a big deal. It's not a small thing, especially if you go to a testing center. Did you have to go to a testing center? Where they like wand you down? It's like you're like my husband in the prison, right? You gotta like get like, you don't have anything on you. You gotta empty your pocket.
You get the pat down.
Yeah. You gotta put everything in a locker, and they're watching you.
So for anyone that just joined, her husband is not in prison. He works for the prison. So I just wanted to point that out.
The prison.
Yeah. Yeah, he is a prison officer. Yeah.
So you definitely like the high of passing the test because you've got 25 total certifications?
No, nowhere close. No, but the CBAP was the first one and the best one, the most worthwhile. But yeah, so I tried the PBA because I just wanted to see like what's the difference. How does the PMI view this role versus the IIBA?
It doesn't.
And
compare.
what I learned, no. So, and I was on the board of both my PMI and IIBA chapters. And the PMI, while it's a great organization, they're not about business analysis. Like they got into that for the money. Let's just be honest. Like that was not their gig. They view the role as tactical, not as a peer. And I, as a business analyst, look at a project manager and a BA as equals. We are not subservient to a project manager, I don't think at all. And I think we have to partner with them very closely. And that was one thing I learned while studying for the PBA. They actually have some really good materials, and they actually have a few techniques that we don't have in our Backlog that are actually okay. Like I was like, oh, I could add that to my list of tools, right? But not very many. But the opportunities they outline very clearly, like here's where the PM and the BA kind of overlap and where there are opportunities for collaboration. And I think there is a lot of overlap with traditional project managers and business analysts, and they do have to work together or you're working against each other, right? So I'm going to do my stakeholder analysis, but if my project manager is doing their own and we're not talking to each other and figuring that out, like what's the point? And are we going to be at cross purposes? And quite frankly, I don't love project management. I'm just going to be totally honest. I think it sucks, the word manage. The word manage just all by itself.
Wait, hold on. Can I ask you a question about that? So you said you don't love project management. You don't like doing project management, or like the concept of project management?
So because I came from construction project management as my background before I became a business analyst, like there is a legit purpose for traditional project management, and it has to do with physical things. So whenever there is something that has to be done in a particular sequence. So, and before Agile came along, I was like, oh, my favorite analogy is the blueprint, right? Because my dad is an architect. I grew up being, a worker in his office, typing up architectural specifications and change orders and blueprints and all these things. So I was like, oh yes, you must have your foundation before you can put up your walls, before you can install your plumbing and your electrical, then you can do your drywall and your paint, like all, so this very literal, like building a thing, physical thing, lends itself very well to traditional project management. You couldn't do that in agile fashion, like Isabel Allende, if you've ever read House of the Spirits, I believe it was, where she's just like building these weird rooms, like I'm going to build a room over here and a room over here. And it's just like, no. In physical things, you have to have a plan, and it has to be pretty known in advance. Software development, not even close to the same, like it's just not, it can evolve, it can grow from a very small thing, this way, that way, until you emerge with your beautiful architecture. But physical things, if you try to go put in the plumbing before you do something else, you're going to run into like a gazillion problems. So you kind of have to do it in a particular order. So I have no problem with project management in those kinds of contexts, and it makes sense. And I love Agile for software development. It makes more sense to me. But before Agile came along, I was like, blueprint, let's know everything. And being an old school BA, if either one of you guys were before Agile, I'd go gather the requirements, right? Which I hate that now. It drives me nuts. In fact,
I hated it then.
Right. Like they're just laying around the requirements. We're just going to go pick them up like pebbles on the road. Like they're waiting for us to pick them up. In fact, I'm on an advisory committee for the local technical college, and we had our every 6-month meeting this morning, and they're like, okay, here are the competency-based things for this software development. And the first line item was gather the requirements. I'm like, no, you need to change that right now. It should be elicit the requirements, so you're asking questions. They're just not there to pick. So, I was like, I know it's a small thing, but can we please change this? They're like, well, the whole state's already agreed to this. I'm like, really? The whole state?
Call it,
yeah, right.
Requirements extraction.
Right. And I know I'm getting totally off topic, but yeah. So, I mean, there is a time and a place for traditional project management. It has its spot, but for software development, for complex problems, Agile. Hey, Judy, I love you. Good to see you. Your ears are ringing right now. Yeah. Yeah. Gathering the requirements. It just drives me. It drives me nuts. Does it drive
What else can we call it?
Discover and develop needs.
Eliciting, asking questions like why, who, what, why, when, why, all the W's and then the H. Well, that's the other people's problem. But
I was thinking, is there a way that we could call it something more fun and just come up with that, right? So instead of
trawling.
Trawling. Okay. I liked extraction
requirements.
It feels like extraction, and then it goes back to your orthodontist thing earlier. So then
that would be drilling.
Yeah.
No, not with orthodontia. That comes before. Yeah. No, so for me, saying I love forensic files. So it's a mystery to be solved. And so I feel like every business analysis assignment is sort of the same thing. You're like, okay, so what is the problem? What do we need to figure out? And so you're asking all these probing questions, and you're kind of solving a mystery. I feel like it's a treasure hunt almost. Does that make sense?
It does.
Do you guys feel that way? Or is it just me?
You got to polish it though. You don't just find it and go, hey, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
You got to work for it.
Oh, you're right. So you never take them at the first word, right, Steve? Here's what I need.
Here, what do you want again? Let me write that down.
No. Well, why do you need that? Oh, really? Oh, how about this? And then, you just keep peeling the onion. So almost 100% of the time, what they say they need is not what they actually need. So the goal of the business analyst is to uncover the actual underlying business need. And that to me is kind of the joy of a business analysis job, is discovering the treasure. What is it that they actually need? And can we actually make this happen? And usually it's not what they ask for initially, right. Almost 99% of the time, right?
I like it when they ask, I just need a button that does this. And then I feel like if I ever gave everybody a button that was exactly what they asked for, it would just look like a NASA control panel. There's just be buttons everywhere.
And that's where you get to the order taker, right? Which is, I think, in the early days of the profession, business analysis were really treated like a waitress at a restaurant. I mean, this is horrible to say this, right? But it's true. Okay, I'm going to go say, okay, what is it you need? Yep. Okay, we're going to go do that. And then you give them exactly that. You don't ask any questions. You don't really think about it. You're not analyzing anything. You're just, okay, you said you needed this. here's what you get. And invariably, like, no, that's not what they needed. They really didn't actually even understand what they needed. Like, you have to delve into it. You have to probe and explore to understand what the real problem is so you can provide the right solution to the problem.
And without a mentor, it's tougher to do that early on without getting smacked down, basically getting a failure at what you delivered. And then you realize, my own little retrospective, okay, so what did I do wrong? I listened to them the first time.
No, you gotta listen last. Like, I mean, it's like, okay, yes, but so yeah, listen to what they say, but then you have to explore it. You have to investigate. And the thing that drives me the most nuts being a consultant is that oftentimes you come in and they've already decided the solution.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I've been in this position so many times. It's like, oh yeah, we considered all these alternatives, but we're going to go with this one. And it's like, you didn't have a business analyst involved in this decision?
No, we had a project manager. They did a cost benefit analysis.
Right. And that's another.
Where's the analysis? Show me the analysis.
Right. So this is another huge problem, is that they bring in the project manager before they bring in a business analyst. It should be the other way around. The business analyst should always be first. The project manager, I'm sorry to marginalize the role of project management, but it's not very complicated. Like traditional project managers, and I've done this job, so I know it is not creative. It is not fun. Like, I don't understand why anybody would want to be a project manager, or oh gosh, I'm really just going out here. Like, I know you guys are recording this too, so this will stay for posterity, but this is what I think. Like, project managers are, they're the like overseers. They just have no creativity. They don't have okay, I'm not going to say they're not smart. They're smart. Okay, they're smart. But I mean, they're a different kind of smart. They're just not a creative kind of smart. They're just like, okay, give me what we need to do. I'm going to lay out the plan. Let me get my Gantt chart out. I'm going to lay like, here's like, sorry.
They're like politicians. They like to handle the money.
After election day too, Steve. Good job.
They like to make the decisions about money and play politics. They're politicians.
No, and you know what? If there's any creative part of their job, it's the politicking part, right? It's getting the right people and, making the right deals, the backdoor deals, like. And to me, that's just not that fun. Like, I love being a business analyst because it is creative, because we get to use our brains, right? We get to explore, we get to go and learn new things, like, continuously. And for me, that's the biggest pleasure and the joy of being a BA, is being able to continuously learn new things and constantly being challenged. Like, it's never going to be boring. Our profession, never boring.
Well, I'm actually going to go on the side of the PMs. Since
AJ!
Hold on.
He likes to play devil's advocate.
Hold on. Yeah.
That's great, though. I love it.
Only because, and I've said this publicly, but I think I've worked for like 2 good PMs, ones that I would quantify as good. And I'm still like in contact with them. But I think a lot of times BAs, if we had a room full of BAs all talking about what we can do on a project, we focus a lot on the what ifs and used all that creativity, but it does take a stronger hand for somebody else to come in and hone that down and actually make it like, okay, guys, what are we actually doing with this? How are we going to get stuff done? Because I think we would ideate persistently, and we wouldn't get a whole lot of things done.
A lot of churn.
Totally stuck in analysis paralysis. That's a totally legit thing. I absolutely agree. I mean,
so that's why they're our counterparts, because they're the ones that are literally holding us accountable to the things that we are looking to do for the business. So I know, Aaron. Aaron,
legit
right.
point. AJ goes to the dark.
It hurt me to say all of those things, but like I feel true.
No, I mean, it's a yin and a yang, right? And this is why I feel like, if you have a situation where you do have a traditional project manager and a business analyst, they should be like lockstep, right? They should be partners. They should be a dynamic duo and work together to accomplish the goals. And yes, they're very totally different competency sets. So this is why I kind of get upset where I go into organizations and they're like, oh yeah, your next step in the BA career is to become a project manager. I'm like,
oh, I hated that.
No.
What? No. What in the world would I want to become a project manager? And then recently I decided to, reinvestigate that for myself. So I tried taking a project manager consultant job. I know. What was I thinking? And I was immediately affirmed in my my thoughts that this is not where I want to spend my life. Like, I can do it. Sure. Anybody can do project management if you got logic, right? Like, you can do it, but it's just not terribly creative. But you do need to have the negotiation skills, like AJ was saying, the political skills, the acumen. And you know what? In organizations where PMs are a big deal, their head is on the chopping block. So they're kind of responsible. Yeah. And they actually are very incentivized to get it done. So, those kinds of organizations, that's, if that's the way they operate, that's great. Personally, I'm much more a fan of, the Agile way of working and, Scrum Master, servant leadership, but not every organization lends itself to that. Nope. Certain types of industries, like I gave as an example, construction, where things have to be done in a particular sequential order, logically. Anything with a physical component really is not necessarily a great fit for Agile. So, you got to pick the right type of approach to the right type of project.
Well, and to go back to something that you said earlier, you were talking about business analysis, and you mentioned that tech changes and you can be well versed in a technology, and then all of a sudden the technology just kind of either implodes, explodes, etc., or it develops, etc. But the thing you said was business analysis is persistent, and I'm curious, is that because that is it's more of a people problem than it is a technical problem, to where our jobs are looking at the individuals and being able to work with them and collaborate and to get information from them, and that's why it's persistent, because it's embedded in the project itself, just because we're dealing with people? Or is there another reason?
Yeah, no, I think that's probably the main reason is people, and because the skills and the techniques that we use, they will evolve over time, but they're pretty stable. So if you look at the techniques that I used, 15 years ago, the most common ones, so take observation, take document analysis, interviews, focus groups, these are still really common techniques. They haven't changed a ton in the last, despite technology, they just haven't changed that much. So I think those things are very stable, and organizations, technology is going to change. And I think what we do doesn't necessarily change as a result of the technology changes. The how you deliver the solution might be affected by technology changes, but how you arrive at the business need isn't necessarily going to change that much.
People will always be part of the problem.
And the solution.
Yes. Yeah. People are integral to it all. And with the introduction of AI, so I don't know if you guys have had any of your sessions focused on AI, but AI is becoming a really hot topic, especially for business analysts. So IABA, local and global chapters have had some pretty good sessions on this. And if you've used any of the tools yourself, I know I have, there is a huge opportunity for us to accelerate our work, I would say. So I would view AI not as a replacement for what we do as business analysts, because I don't think any computer machine could ever possibly replace a human being's intellectual, creative capabilities. Can they regurgitate a set of facts? Sure, no problem. Can they formulaically give you an output of something? Absolutely. And so I use AI primarily as a digital sort of assistant, and it's a good place to start. And it can be a huge, like I said, accelerator for business analysts to speed up your work. But will it replace what you do? I don't think so. I really don't. I really think it's just it's an assistant more than anything else. It can improve your work. It can speed up your work. I can use it as an editor. I can use it as a brainstormer, as all sorts of things. And I've used different types. I've used ChatGPT. I also am a very creative person, so I have an Adobe Creative Suite license, and I've used that. Isn't it crazy?
I love it so much. I use it all the time.
It's nuts. So you can give it like a verbal description. So I blog, as I think you guys probably know, I have a blog. And so I also read a lot of books, and I was looking for a background for something I was creating. So I'm like, using Adobe Firefly, which is their AI. I'm like, all right, I want a statue of an Olympic athlete holding a discus, So it gave me a first version of that, and it was like it gave me men and women in various color, like non-color versions, and I'm like, okay, well, I really wanted a man, so I wanted a male physique, so I'm like, all right, give me a male in marble holding the discus. And so I just continued to refine my description until it came up with something pretty good. Was it perfect? No.
But
in fact, it was great up until about halfway through the legs, where it landed the pedestal of the statue. It was like, like 3/4 of a human being and then the pedestal of a statue. So I'm like, you know what? That's great. All I needed was the upper half anyway. So it was like, okay, good enough. But if you look at some of the things it can create, it's astonishing. Absolutely astonishing. So for, creativity, for assistance, I mean, AI, we as business analysts have to pay attention to this. Absolutely. Because this is going to be a part of our jobs, whether we like it or even know it or not going forward. In fact, Angela Wick posted a thing today, I think it was on LinkedIn, specifically about AI and how ChatGPT is coming up with all these customized bots. So we could go, or we as business analysts would be responsible for helping identify the requirements for creating these bots to do these specialized skills. So we need to be paying attention to what's going on for sure.
Yeah. So when you asked me earlier why I don't have my CBAP, it's because I don't just do business analysis. Like the analysis that I do is in the technology space. So like automation and things like that. That's what I focus on. That's what I do. And so that's why I don't just, so I kind of do analysis for fun or analysis on the side. It's more of this has to happen in order to get to the technical solution on that. So I've actually used some of those tools, obviously. And then there's another one called Rationale. Rationale.gina.ai, and it'll actually do SWOT analysis for you, pro cons list, like all this fun stuff. And it's a great way to generate an idea if you're starting from scratch. And like, hey, here's an idea for this. Now I can go and I can build from that very easily.
Yeah, and I use it as like a first draft sometimes. So I'll say, I want to write a blog on this topic, like generate an outline for me. So it'll give me an outline. I mean, I literally could have it write a whole blog for me, but I would never do that because then it wouldn't be me. Or you could teach it. Theoretically, you could say, go ingest all of the writings I've done in the last however many years and train yourself to write in my style with my knowledge. Like you could do that.
But actually, it sounds like that should be your next blog. You just wrote your next blog already on this show. Look out, everybody, for her next blog. It's going to be about AI.
No, I mean, I don't think it's a good idea to ever like take the first thing that an AI spits out to you and use it. And I mean, as a digital assistant, I've used it and I watch it like a hawk. And I know it makes mistakes, and it's stupid mistakes too, like human beings would make. And like, and I want to actually have conversations. I probably shouldn't, but I have conversations with it like it's a human. I'm like, dude, you screwed up again. Right. You overlooked this. Like, you should have done this instead of that. And, I probably shouldn't approach it like that, but like that, I'm a human being. So that's my inclinations. Like, here's my feedback. I gave you these instructions and you didn't follow them exactly. And you would think that it would because it's a machine, but there's like something else going on in there, which I'm really curious to understand why it works the way it works.
So you're taking an agile approach to using AI.
Oh, totally. So I'll give it a basic set of instructions, see how it does. I'll look at the output and I'll say, okay, that was great, but you did this wrong, this wrong, and this wrong. How about you take another try? And then it'll do it again. And I'm like, okay, that was better, but you still got this wrong, this wrong, and this wrong. One more try, and I mean, eventually it does a pretty decent job. But I wouldn't ever trust anything like first draft out of the gate with an AI. No way. And I would never, ever like say, write me an entire blog and I'm going to post it as my content. No. Number one, it's formulaic. Number two, it doesn't sound like a human being. Like it'll give you all the points very logically in a sequential order, but English and writing was kind of my first passion before I even became an analyst of any kind. Like, writing was always my jam. And so to me, it sounds mechanical. It sounds like a machine. It doesn't read like a human being. And I want to read something coming from another person. So yeah, I would take it as, give me some ideas. It can help you brainstorm. It can help you come up with better titles. So,
and what you just described as the process that you started using AI, that's basically a BA's progression from early career of, okay, give me this. Here it is.
Yep.
They gave you a button. Yep. Well, it did a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But now you realize, oh, I need to do more to get the real solution, the real output.
Right. Yeah. And it is like digging, a hole and trying to uncover all the different things. And it's never the first thing you think it's going to be. So absolutely. It's like peeling the onion and the layers and figuring out, what is the real need. And at the end of the day, that's what BAs are good at, is figuring out what the business needs or the person needs or whoever, like, not how to accomplish it. Like, that's the developers, like that's their job. And I have run into situations in my career, especially as a consultant, where the product owner or the BA or someone writing the requirements is writing like the technical specs or like the code, like literally writing the code, or here's the SQL that I need, or here's the and every time I see that, I just want to scream. My head wants to explode. I'm like, no, that's not your job. Don't do that, because it leaves no creativity then for the developers. Sure. So you want to give them the autonomy, like, here's the problem and you guys go find out the best solution for this problem. And if you try to give them spoon feed them A, B, paint by numbers, right? You don't want to give them paint by numbers. You want to give them here's the problem. How's the best way to solve this? You don't want to say it's going to be X, Y, and Z. You want them to come up with here's what we think, because they know better. They know, they have all sorts of creative ideas. And if you don't let them do that, they're going to be unsatisfied in their job. Right. And so that is also a partnership.
Yeah. Well, with that said, I want to be the PM in this group, and we are moving on to the next segment. Next segment is the BA hotline. So we will allow you in the audience to ask our guest, Rachael Wilterdink, Humperdink, to anything you want. The table's yours. So here, we'll do that right now.
eavesdrop on the BA hotline and see what provocative project problems are awaiting us. Is your project in hot water? Operators are standing by. Ooh, that's hot.
All right. You are officially in the hot seat. So
wow. I just switched over to look at the comments. I'm like, oh wow.
yeah. That's what I've been
Good
putting up
stuff.
here. Yeah, there is. And so first of all, I like that.
Yep.
That's actually on our website, Aaron. So on Analysts After Dark, that's on our website. It's one of my favorites. Because it's so
just
true.
even listening to your intro and that last little part, I'm like, wow, you guys made this show really sexy. It's really awesome. I love it. Ooh, like, ooh. Aaron, what is the most used language in programming? Profanity.
Yeah. We just went up there.
Like, that's great. Yeah, I think it's different every day. I mean, based on, my gazillion years of experience, it changes all the time. It's never, ever, going to be the same thing, like even a month from now. Like, hey, Python is hot today, but who knows what XYZ language is going to be there tomorrow.
Yep.
And my last team was a data team. And so they're all like, Databricks, blah, blah, blah. And then Microsoft comes along. They're like, Fabric.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, Fabric. And so instantly, like everybody changes their tune and they have to go learn something new.
Some people are still in the lake.
No, they're in the warehouse.
And the warehouse is in the lake. Yeah.
Like, because like the warehouse a few years back, like this was the most up to date like BI thing to do, and now it's like, oh no, and now it's the data lake, and now it's the data lake warehouse. Like, I don't even know. Like the terms just start to blah 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 blend. Right?
I think my favorite term is just blob storage, and I just think of like the thing. Right? And then just slowly taking over and eating everything. That's what I think about.
Which is hilarious because last night, AJ, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like on a creepy movie binge and I watched Creepshow 2, which was a really old movie. One of the segments was like these people going out on this think about a lake and it's got like a little platform out on it where you can go and swim. Yeah. I can't remember what the name of the episode was, but these 4 teenagers, they're like, yeah, it's like October, so it's getting cooler, but they like go swim out there and then there's this blob in the water that's like eating them. It's like, yeah. Sorry, I'm losing it right now. I haven't even been like drinking the whole time. Like I really haven't, I promise.
I like how you qualified it, like the whole time.
The whole time.
It's never happened. The whole time.
Pre-tune? What?
Yeah, I warned you. My husband took me out before this. So.
It happens.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. Oh my gosh, Leslie, if you're still on, I actually I sent your like LinkedIn address to a bunch of folks today. I was on a it was a like Agile coach. It was out of New York, so like an Agile coach event, and it was like a half-day thing, and a bunch of people were talking about social networking. So Leslie, I remembered you as the expert, and I totally put your LinkedIn in there. I'm like, this is the girl. If you want to know how to like optimize your LinkedIn profile, Leslie's your girl. So yeah, I totally gave you a plug today.
Awesome.
Oh, she's the best.
Aw.
Yeah.
We haven't officially met, Leslie, but I've seen you on many of these events and I've been watching you for a few years probably. So we should definitely, I think we are connected. I just don't think we've like officially met. So I would love to meet you.
I think she'll be in Chicago. Will she not?
I'd say Chicago.
Oh man, are you guys talking about BA World Chicago?
Yeah, that's in December.
No, November.
Oh, November.
Month, right?
Thank you. Yeah, it's this month.
Yeah, so I did not apply to speak, and I'm not attending this year.
You could be a volunteer, maybe.
That's true.
I thought about that. I will actually get in touch with what's her name, the official lady,
Amy Riddell.
Amy Riddell. I will reach out to her because that's a fantastic event. Yes.
I kind of want to see you two just meet and just be a fly on the wall. Like I wouldn't be able to talk about anything. I just watch, and it would just be like two hummingbirds that just met. It would be great.
I mean, I am not a LinkedIn expert by any means, but I'm totally in awe of Leslie. Yes. Oh, you're so sweet. I would love to come. I might just have to crash the party. I
think you should.
You wouldn't be the first one because we know somebody who's done that in Toronto.
Oh, really? Who's that?
Someone's initials VM. Has his own show and work.
I know him very well. He and I are buds.
He's told that story.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
his first time attending BA World Toronto.
Well, actually, the first time I was a presenter at BA World, he was the keynote speaker, and it was his dragon speech.
Slay the dragons.
Yes, that one. And so later on, I met him. I'm like, hey, I'm one of your dragon slayers. He's like, oh, okay. So it was great. Yeah, awesome. Anywho, I know we're out of time, guys. Thank you so much.
We've got one more segment. This is not your show. This is our show. We choose when it ends. Thank you very much.
I'm used to being in charge, okay?
You're not the PM.
Now I get why you don't work well with PMs. This makes sense. Well, then we'll start with the confession. We'll let you do your confession, and then we'll officially end the show. How about that? So,
confession?
Yeah, here we go.
And now it's time for BA Confessions.
All right.
What am I supposed to be confessing to?
See, that's the beauty of it. We were trying to collect confessions from the audience, and they're like, yeah, we're not sure about that. We're not really we got some, but I think now we're just gonna put
shortcuts that I may have taken, or stakeholders I might have ignored, or I'm just making stuff up here.
That never happens.
Yes, that's what we want.
Yeah, probably, just certain folks that they think they know and they don't know. You just listen to them, and then in one ear out the other, and give them some lip service and move on. That would be my confession. Certain people really don't have actual stake, so you just give them your ear for a little bit so they can feel heard, and that's good enough. As long as they feel like you listened to them, even if they don't get anything out of it, they still feel okay about it. So that'd be my confession.
Do you have one scenario that you can recall where you said, oh yeah, and then I just kind of placated this person, and then you don't have to name names. We can keep the guilty innocent still.
I really honestly can't think of one specifically. If I did, my brain would automatically erase it because I would feel guilty. I'm that kind of a person where I want to make everybody happy, so I probably wouldn't be able to do that emotionally.
So you don't do the thing where you write it down real quick and then you just when you walk away.
I might, but then again, I don't write things down anymore. I use OneNote for everything.
Okay.
I used to write everything down in a Stenopad. That'd be a lot easier to record me on, right? But now I use OneNote, so nobody else can see it but me.
You're fired, Leslie.
You're awesome, Leslie.
Not allowed on the show anymore. I'm gonna kick her out. She's not invited.
Oh no, she should always be invited. Aaron, you're awesome too. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much.
Well,
you guys, I do probably. Yeah, my husband's probably already asleep because.
Yeah. Well, that's a good time because now let's talk a little bit about you. So thank you very much for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. you have your own blog, which you shared. We'll go ahead and we'll put that up here in a second.
Thank you. Now you're gonna make me go write a new blog because you already said I use ChatGPT to write it for me.
You won't have to. You'll just be able to do this, and then
Yes, this will be a great experience for a blog. Absolutely. Thanks,
then
guys. Thank
where
you
can
so
people
much
find your blog?
For inviting me, for doing this. This is amazing. Let's keep the VA community strong.
Thank you very much. This is our episode of Analysts After Dark. Thank you, Rachel, for joining us. Steve, it's always a pleasure seeing you, sir.
Thank you,
Likewise.
gentlemen. Thank you, audience.
Right.
We'll see you guys soon. Bye.
This is us telling you to stay curious
And stay positive.
Thanks.
Bye.